This one is another news that when I saw it, I'm very, very happy about it because I never saw it coming from Ivory Coast so soon. Knowing the relationship with the Ivory Coast president with the French. But nevertheless, I'm happy about this news. Ivory Coast has announced that French troops will withdraw from the West African nation, further reducing the military influence of the former colonial power in the region. In an end-of-the-year address, Ivory Coast President Alassane Ouattara said the move was a reflection of the modernization of the country's armed forces, which is understandable. You cannot have the presence of this French army in the numbers they are in Ivory Coast and be able to have a total sovereignty of your country. It is not possible. Separately, Senegal, which last month announced France would have to close its military base on its territory, confirmed the withdrawal will be completed by the end of 2025. So Senegal, on the other side, is telling you that their own process, which they have started, will come to an end by the French withdrawing or evacuating themselves out of Senegal by the end of 2025. Ivory Coast is a home to the biggest remaining contingent of French troops in West Africa. So you see, Ivory Coast has the biggest of the number of French soldiers on their soil. There are some 600 French military personnel in the country with 350 in Senegal. We have decided in a concerted manner to withdraw French forces from the Ivory Coast, President Alassane Ouattara said. He added that the military infantry battalion of Port Bouet that is run by the French army would be handed over to Ivorian troops. Wonderful. It's a pleasant news because the earlier these people start leaving these countries, the earlier these countries will have their total sovereignty, they will be able to address these insecurity concerns themselves. Because if the reason why these people came into these countries in the first place, that this same reason has not gotten any better, rather it has gotten far worse than it was before they came. So of what use are they in these people's country? France, whose colonial rule in West Africa ended in the 1960s, which indirectly has not really ended, because 10 of such African countries are still paying colonial tax to French, of which any money that France is printing for them, 50% of those money stays in the French treasury, which these countries don't have any control over. And even when this country want to borrow money, France will not borrow the money. They will first think if it is necessary. And if it is necessary, they can only borrow them 20% of their own money, of which they are still going to pay back with interest. So this is an amazing news. I just hope that in this 2025, more and more of such African countries will begin to rise up. We begin to ask the French to leave. We begin to ask for their total sovereignty. We begin to take their countries back. Yes, Africa must evolve, and these countries that are still being ruled or being directly controlled by France, this year is a year that more and more African countries that found themselves under the grip of France must do whatsoever it takes. It's not going to be easy, but they must do whatsoever it takes for the sanity of their own country, for the sanity of their own people, for the development of their country and their people.